If we argue, it won't be good for any of us. We are all distinguished people. You are a former governor, I'm a former governor. Let us, please, off the mic, sit down. Please be seated. I watched you on television, and you said no matter what the Senate does, the Senate will never go with you. The Senate will not go with you. I said you said no matter what this Senate does, the Senate will not have your vote on anything the Senate does. That's what you said on television. I don't know, but I'm saying that if you have already made up your mind to go and talk on television when the Senate has not even considered any issue, I want to let you know.
To me, please.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm only saying, please allow me to preside. Allow me to preside.
Make my point.
Stand up and make a point.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please, we must have mutual respect for all of our colleagues, okay? And I do have regard for you, particularly as our presiding officer.
I appreciate
And I think that should be reciprocal.
Mr. Speaker, since the President's letter concerns proclamation, Mr. Speaker, the constitutional procedures that must be followed as enshrined in Section 305, subsection 6B, that says for us to consider this President's request that this House must have two-thirds of members present. Mr. Speaker, may I please ask...
We already have our attendance registers, honorable colleague, and we will rely on that to ensure.
Mr. Speaker, this is a constitutional...
Yes,
Can we do a head count, Mr. Speaker?
That
we
is not...
ascertain that we have a quorum.
Yes.
We ascertain that we have...
Yes, yes. Our attendance register will guide us accordingly, honorable. Please. Sir? Our attendance registers will guide us accordingly. Members are still signing, and at the end of the day, we'll take attendance.
Mr. Speaker, can that be made available now for the members to know whether we have formed a quorum? Whether we have formed a quorum, Mr. Speaker, as enshrined in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, so that our deliberations are not going to be deliberations based on illegality.
It is noted, honorable. Please, you can sit down. Sit down, please. Your point of order is noted. Please sit down.
All right, so Right Honorable Obi Agwocha there. Earlier we saw Senator Serake Dixon, and then you could see the the reactions, the bizarre emotional investment that these guys have in all of this. I'm talking about the leadership of the House and the leadership of the Senate. You could see how the Speaker and the Senate President has taken this thing personal. The Senate President is even now more worried than anybody else, because these guys have vested interest that is not for the overall good of the country. Because for a matter like this, for example, the reason why they have to ensure that they clean up this matter and crush anything crushable is that the Constitution only provides 48 hours after such proclamations for the National Assembly to okay it. If not, it becomes non-void. So they have to do anything. People's Gazette is already reporting that a $25 billion, $25,000 bribe is already in the air, as it were, and all of these guys, that's his report. But that's not even my stake. I'm not even interested. I'm not sure Tinubu needs to bribe anybody for them to do his vested interest, because of course they know that we have a defeated electoral system. We have a system that silences opposition. And unfortunately, the National Assembly or any legislative chamber, the minority will have their say, but the majority will have their way, and it is like that. And that is why sometimes we are able to curse out these rep members, curse out these senators, not knowing that there are a few dissenting voices that seem to speak. As I speak to you, there's a breaking news now that the Senate and the House of Rep are now in separate plenaries, have now endorsed the proclamation. It will look as if nobody spoke, and we cannot curse them. But if not for these videos now to show that these guys, you could see how Obi was being shot at, the rep member was being shot at, no mutual respect. And that's what we're trying to say when the Natasha matter came up. The ultimate projection, the bigger picture was that this is a symptom of a defeated state, of a capture where opposition voices. So we were even blaming all members of the opposition party for keeping quiet. It was not enough to say whether the allegations were valid or not. She should have been given a fair hearing, and all standing protocols of the House would have been observed in dealing. You could follow the rule of law. You must follow due process, and that for people you keep mentioning for Umaru Musa Yar'Adua that his gains as president were reducing fuel and all of the things. For me, the biggest advantage, the biggest gain of the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua's very short-lived government was his standpoint on separation of power, due process, and rule of law. If not for Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, people like Olusegun Mimiko, Adams Oshomole may not have even been governor. And so the advantage that he brought was that he removed his hands from politics and allowed politics to be politics, and then institutional frameworks in this country should run effectively. For a man that even accepted that the election that brought him to office was flawed. And so, unfortunately, we have a man who is a businessman like Tinubu. He doesn't need to bribe anybody. Forget that news. He doesn't need. They have a constitutional duty. It's not the same reps that went to donate half of their salary that they would have used in helping communities without light, without water, without education, without health care, to go and give back to the president 705 million. You know how much that costs? How much that is? If we're going to use that particular amount to help some communities in this country that do not have power, at least even if it's to give them solar electricity, just in case you cannot pull all of their attention through the distribution companies, it will at least give them stability. At least let them have stable power. Yet they want to give that money. Is it that same people that they are going to bribe? So okay, forget all the bribe allegations. That is even bullshit to me. I'm not taking that. I'm only showing you this video to show that we still have a few persons, so that we do not allow these APC guys and their media hutchings all over social media to demonize everybody in the House of Assembly or in the rep, because that is the goal. The goal is to give them a clandestine understanding to say, oh, ostentatiously, everybody will do together. We are all the same. And then you let it go. And that's what they wanted to do in the last. Anybody that comes, they say we are all of them are the same. So that you do not have a resolve to believe that one or two persons can speak for you. Unfortunately, we have more zombies in these houses than smart people. But guess what? The zombies will have their way, because the rule is minority will have their say, but majority will have their way. But the problem now is that these guys are never allowing the minority to have their say. That is the point. And that should worry anybody. No serious country will grow out of the quagmire that it's going, especially as we are as a country, without having very smart opposition putting out their voices like you've heard now. Serake Dixon, OP. See, at the end of the day, the House of Rep and Senate will okay, but we need to constantly have people like this. You see Babio. You see this nuisance about people are defending. And so we'll talk about Natasha and Babio. You pick at, I said, no, leave this personality and look at this. Look at the bigger picture. What is happening? What is going to happen? Where will this lead us to? The same thing we are telling about Fubara and Wiki. Some of you are analyzing betrayal, political betrayal. None of my business. Go ahead. But does the president have a right to take a side in this particular analysis? What does the Constitution say? That's the point. That's the point. A landlord is telling you as a tenant that pays rent to tell your wife to leave. And you say, yes, it be like saying my wife really do one or two things. It be like saying we are not compatible. Does he have that right? That is the point. It's well. I'm out of here. I'll catch you another time. It is well.